Well, I can't say. We would know by the 5th of May, but then certainly you can see a major departure from what I term as old politics. There are attempts within UMNO trying again to use the old race card. But you can sense from the groundswell from this campaign, whether it's enough to tip the balance, that remains to be seen. But to me, the trend has been enormously encouraging, positive.
So even like today, the support that we're receiving from the Chinese
well, you have seen some elements of it in the past, particularly in 2008, but nowhere close to the what you have seen in the last year or so when we started stepping up the campaign trail.
So initially you were integral part of UMNO coalition, and then you had to follow the Malacca side. And then when you returned in 2008, there was already a shift. Now, do you think that the momentum is building towards G30, or do you think that it will go on?
What if you observe the events and development in the last few weeks, and particularly in the last few days, you can certainly see, observe, not absurd. So I don't think we have stapled whether it is enough, the percentage of increase of the level of support, enough to initiate that meaningful change remains to be seen, as I've said. But clearly, you can sense that.
So, moving on, do you think that this could be the end? So you sacrifice on distribution, scandals, and that, and it won't do so much. And do you think that finally this year would be that change in vision? People finally be able to see it?
I'm optimistic, but still I say cautiously so, because we are not working under a fully democratic system. We don't have still, as it is, despite all the assurances given by Najib, there's no access to the media. But there is, some change in terms of the attitude of the security personnel, particularly in the police force. That is quite encouraging. Whether they would then use the police then to put a break, that remains to be seen. But from what I have observed in the last few days, they have been rather professional, conducting their duties without being seen to be or perceived to be biased.
Also, this time around, is a much more organized by the national government. So you think that would hinder other chances? How much would that hinder?
Organization in terms of machinery and funds. But I don't believe there's a ground of support for the Barisan. You can look, for example, during nominations. Very young supporters, post-secondary, not voters, but paid for. Compared to our those present. Although with some exception, some constituencies where you can sense a very strong presence of UMNO, BN, but otherwise, throughout the country, we made a very elaborate study of the profile of those who attended the nomination rallies in support of both. We have mixed racial groups. But you have, for example, if UMNO candidate, 90% will be Malays. MCA candidate, then you have sprinkle of Malays. Far different from the BN, from the Pakatan profile.
So, now, with the unrest, not recognizing what do you make of that entire situation?
I believe it's all orchestrated. I don't believe the Registrar of Society would have the courage or would dare to write in that manner. I read the letter to the DAP without clearance from the top. But they misread the situation. Not only they underestimated the capacity of the Chinese, but also the preparedness of PAS and Kadilan to welcome and absorb DAP into their fold. And once that was done, I think UMNO was taken off guard. They thought there was going to be a lot of problems and unsettling for the DAP. That did not happen, and so they had to put a break. That shows, clearly a defeat for UMNO and Barisan Nasional.
So you say the neutrality of these institutions is supposed to be independent, they act in ways so they can't come to power.
No, I think we are committed to this reform. If it is vulnerable, the institutions must be democratic, media free. We have a free media. You think the media would allow this to happen? We'll have a nightmare if we have that with the registrar of societies coming with certain action. In the entire media will pounce on us. So that is the strength of and the meaning of a free media. I make quite clear that if we cannot make it, then I would not withdraw from the struggle, but certainly continue to support, go back to the university, and let the second echelon leaders take over.
You've been such an integral part of the opposition. Do you think that if you are not as involved, do you think the activists can actually take your life and push the opposition further?
You've just been too kind. Of course, I do play a small role there in coordinating efforts, but I think by now, Pakatan Rakyat can stand on its own, with or without Anwar.
So no doubt, a couple of weeks Malaysia will be different, but actually, especially I think yours, will continue being possibly Prime Minister. So how ready are you to actually take up that role if you are Prime Minister?
When?
2 weeks ish after this.
When? When it happens.
When it happens. So what are your thoughts about
No, I think unlike the system that we are quite familiar with, the UMNO, where the Prime Minister is like the supremo, like uncrowned king of sword, we are bound by this spirit of consensus. We have spelled out the agenda at quite some length and some detail, and generally the economic policy, political philosophy, constitutional framework are being laid down. So I think generally the basic issues are quite resolved. But then I'm sure they will give me the space to navigate, meander if I have to, given the challenges, both economic and transition into what we call or consider vibrant democracy with institutions strengthened.
Thank you so much for your time.